or welcome back to the channel. My name is Dawn Moore, and I thought I might introduce myself a little bit. I haven't really done that yet, so I guess I should do that now. I'm basically a self-taught artist, and I have been on this journey probably my whole life because I have always loved art. My grandmother taught ceramics, and then she moved on doing porcelain dolls, and then my mother she did toll painting, and then my dad would cut the wood for her, and so they kind of had this little business together. It was really kind of neat. So I've been around creativity and the arts pretty much all my life, and I guess in a way I've become like a lifelong student of art, and I love all facets of it. I love the history. I love the feeling that I get when I look at a piece of art, and it just makes me feel such peace and joy. And there's just nothing really in the world that can't be said through the arts, and not just the visual arts, but all the arts, dance and music. And those are the things that make life worth living. I've been doing art about 4 years part each time, and since then I have won an award, and I have been in 2 art festivals, and I've had a semi-solo show with one of the artist friends that lives here in our town with us. So I haven't really been able to do as much as I want to do as far as art's concerned, because I've also had a full-time job as a teacher, and but God has opened up lots of doors for me to do things through my art. And most recently, one of the things that He allowed me to do is to go and do some work in Europe. I was able to work with some beautiful ladies, and we did a painting project. I'm going to share some of the different photographs and things that we took while we were over there, and I'll show you the art project that we did as well. In addition to that, I want to show you some of the goodies that I got because it was a lot of fun. So I'm going to switch the camera around, and we'll take it from there. And I want to show you just some of the fun things that we got while we were in Europe. So hang on. Okay, so I want to start with we took off in Nashville and we landed first in London. And so they had the cutest little bag that I had to get, this little London bag. It is, I don't know if you've heard this brand, it's Eleanor Balmer, really cute. So it was really precious. I had to get it. I also got some eyeglass cases from the same brand. I probably should put these on so I can actually read, but they're kind of dirty. But anyways, super cute pattern. Really, really cute. So while we were there, we got to do a few fun things. So I'll just pull out some of my little goodies and share those with you. All right, one of the things that we got to do was go to a professional art store, and I got this little Royal Challenge sketchbook. So it's super cute, and it was not really too expensive, 1085 euro. Not bad at all. And then 200 words to help you talk about art. And I haven't really dove into this yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Let's just go through a couple of pages. Gelatin silver print, chromogenic paint, glazing, gumbling, diptych, triptych, and polytych. So anyways, this is going to be fun to just go through and maybe share some of these words as I learn them to you as well. And then we got another little sketchbook pad. This will be really fun to take out, like when you're out hiking or on vacation, so you don't have something big, but you've got something fun. And I don't really think there's much in the little bag that's left. I've got some pamphlets, and yeah, that's it. Oh, I did get a brush. I got a brush from FlemishMasters.com. I had forgotten about this little brush, so I'll definitely get it out and take it for a whirl. Fun, fun, fun. We got to go and do a few things while we were there. And one of the things that we got to do is we got to go to Paris. And so while we were in Paris, y'all, I had to. I only wore it one day while we were there, but while I was in Paris, I kind of felt like I had to. But y'all, look, wah wah wah, oh Paris, oh, oh, oh. So cute. And okay, so if you know, you know. But this came from one of the little street vendors, if you know what I'm talking about. But it's so cool. It lights up like the Eiffel Tower. It's so precious. Okay, just saying, €10. If I'd had more cash, I could have bought a much bigger one for not much more money, but precious. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. That was a lot of fun. And I kind of don't want to take my beret off now because I kind of think it's giving me, I look like an artist. I might wear it every day, in fact. So, okay. So we also got to go to Brussels. And while we were in Brussels, I got this little art box to put just some travel containers in, just maybe some pens, markers, whatever. Maybe even paint tubes. It's pretty big. It would hold some of that stuff as well. And then while we were in Brussels, I got this little doohickey here. Oh no, he's taped in. But this was all in Belgium. In Belgium, this was all in Belgium. It has all the different places in Belgium. So we did get to go for a night trip to Belgium. And then we were in Antwerp, which was beautiful. And I intend on painting some of the awesome little pigeons in Antwerp with their diamonds on. If you know, you know. And then we did get to go to Bruges one day, and of course, Brussels. And if you'll see, there's a little mannequin there. And this was probably the most expensive thing that I spent my money on because I thought you had to buy it because it's like everybody go. It's one of the world's most visited tourist sites, but it's little mannequin. We'll just say pee, and I'm purposely covering him up. But he's a very famous statue in Brussels, and it's said that he helped to put out the fires in Brussels. I don't know the whole history on it, but just by his little, I just called him pee statue. So he's cute. And so I'm going to make a little montage of my little tower and my little statue of all the little places that you would go in Bruges. If you've not been to Bruges, it's really sweet. They've got swans on a pond. I'll insert some images and some captions of all these places just at the ends for you guys to look at. It's a lot of fun. So, you know, I feel so honored and so blessed that God would allow me to do this, that, he would let me to take my art and to teach other people, even in a foreign country. It's amazing the things that art, the doors that art can open up for you. We painted this little picture, and when you're looking at some of the pictures of this, you're going to see the versions that the ladies did. Really cute. They did such a nice job, and so I was really proud of it. And I love that we put the little gold on it. And we had one lady that loves like black and white interior, and so we talked to her and we had her do all of the black and white. And I think I have a picture that I could show you. So instead of doing gold, of course, she did silver. So I've got a lot of pictures to show you, and I'll probably do a little bit of a voiceover so I can just talk to you about some of the things that were beautiful and precious. And I'm so thankful. I think I might even get to go back and do another class. So I'm thinking about what I might get to do next with those sweet ladies. So cute. Right here on my little art desk. I just love it. Super cute. Alrighty, so I guess we'll just start from the beginning. Here we are in Nashville getting ready to take off for London Heathrow Airport. So we land there and we had the opportunity to go gift shopping a little bit, and I thought these two little stores were super, super cute, so I just took a little picture. So we land in Brussels, and then on our way to Antwerp from Brussels, we saw these really cool trees by the river. They're like flat, so I guess they've been like pruned on one side, and it was by the river. And so that river empties into the North Sea. And so I found out it was kind of interesting that Antwerp has the second largest port in Europe, and so that was kind of cool too. So street art is everywhere, and there are just tons and tons of murals. I just noticed that straight off, and so it's pretty interesting. There we have these cute little dog statues that we saw. And one of them, I think that little second dog, is the national colors for Belgium. So thought that was neat. We stayed in a little Airbnb for the whole time that we were there. So we actually ended up staying in two, because the original Airbnb that we had scheduled to stay in actually flooded. And so we were put off by one night and had to stay in this first Airbnb. Sorry. And so anyways, I took pictures of the first one, but I didn't really get any of the second one, and I don't know why. But I will tell you this about the buildings in, I guess, all of Europe, but they pay taxes on how many square feet a house was, and I believe they may have even paid taxes on how many windows they had. And so a lot of people built up instead of out, and so that's why some of these houses, you know, are 3, 4, 5 stories high. And so there were a lot of stairs everywhere we went, and so that wasn't really easy with a lot of luggage, but they were all very beautiful. Both of them were amazing. So anywho, moving on. This little section right here is just a glimpse into what a typical work day looked like in the Antwerp Center. This first corner statue is on Grogenkerhofstraat. And so there are lots of these little corner Mary sculptures in the neighborhoods, and there are tons of them. And what they do is they represent the people and their faith in those areas in certain neighborhoods. So I thought that was really neat too. There are so many that I couldn't even begin to take all their pictures. But anywho, moving on, then we have bikes, and they're just everywhere, and they're such practical things, because I guess in most of Europe the streets are just really narrow and parking is hard to find. So bike travel is just an inexpensive and practical way just to travel around, and plus they're really, really cute. And then as we're traveling, we saw some beautiful balconies where people had decorated with little bistro sets or bicycles, and I just thought that was really pretty, so I took a few pictures of that. But I was really enthralled with the little cafes, and they were everywhere, and even when it was cold they were out, because they had little heaters, and a lot of them would bring out blankets for people to sit under if the weather was too cool. So we got to eat at this one little restaurant here, the little Italian place, and it was absolutely delicious, as you can imagine. And even though they had lots of nice local restaurants, there was a KFC there too. Cool. And so now we are at Antwerp's Groot Market, or just the main square. And if you look, you can see that statue in the distance, and it's a pretty famous statue. There's a story that goes behind it, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher the name, but Silvius Brabo cut off the hand of a giant that lived in the river that would demand toll from would-be, ships and things like that. And so if they couldn't pay, he would just cut off their hand, and he would throw the hand in the river. And so the Roman soldier cut off his hand, and he was a big hero, and so that statue is honoring him. But that is also why Antwerp is named what it's named, because Antwerpen in Dutch means hand throwing. So I thought that was very interesting. It's actually a really pretty and interesting statue. So in that same area, there is the Cathedral of Our Lady, and it contains paintings of several famous painters, but also the Baroque painter Peter Paul Rubens. And I pulled up a few of the paintings that are in there. Like this one is the Elevation of the Cross, and then the Assumption of the Virgin. And then this one is the Descent from the Cross, and then of course the Resurrection of Christ. And it was absolutely beautiful, especially like when the sun was shining on it. I don't know, everything there just shines. There's so much gold on top of the buildings. It just makes it absolutely beautiful. And so if I'm not mistaken, this is the other side of the cathedral from the first picture that I showed you. But there is a statue of a boy. He was an orphan boy named Nello and his dog. And apparently they were very, very poor and impoverished, and they took refuge in front of the cathedral at night. And so as the story goes, they ended up freezing to death in front of the cathedral, right in front of Rubens' painting, The Descent from the Cross. So it's a pretty sad story, but it is really a neat statue, how the cobblestones come up over the piece. So I really, really love that. So we tried to start each morning with a little devotional, and we always went to, well, we tried to at least go and get a local coffee each morning, and that was a lot of fun. So we had to buy the paintings for the paint party, or not the paintings, but the paint canvas panels. And so we went to a little local art store there. And while we were there, well, actually, as we were leaving, I saw these adorable little paint kits that had a little stuffed Bob Ross, and I just had to take a picture of that. But here is a little video of the outside of the store. Okay, so this is the little art store that we went to in Antwerp. And here is a little video of the class all set up and ready to go. And there's our painting that we're going to paint right there. So here's just a few that are finished. We had a packed house, so there's a lot more that I didn't get pictures of. So this is right downtown in the heart of Antwerp, and you can see it's much more busy on the weekend than it is during the weekday.
Ik zeg wel liever één later, maar als die zegt gewoon tegen mij
So here we are at the Antwerp Diamond District, and I had to take a few pictures of some of the window displays. Absolutely beautiful. Not only diamonds, but all kinds of precious gems and jewels. It was absolutely stunning. Another thing that I really loved was seeing all these quintessentially European flower shops. They were just absolutely beautiful. And so here we are at Central Station, and I believe this has been the setting of several movies. But what I was really enthralled with was this cute little bathroom. It was so brightly colored, and when you closed the door, little jungle sounds played. It was absolutely the coolest bathroom I think I have ever seen. So here we are in Bruges, and this was one of our favorite little shops that we got to go see. It's called Dilly and Camille, and isn't it just precious, the little black and white awning? So now we're down in the market square, and if you look in the back, you can see some of the little buildings that are really iconic of Bruges itself. And in front of those are some horse-drawn carriages that you can rent out and take a little carriage ride through the city. But I love this little picture of the sweet little couple behind me that caught me taking a selfie, so I wanted to include that. So this is a picture of the outside of the Basilica of the Holy Blood. And inside they house a vial that is believed to hold a cloth that has been stained with the blood of Jesus. Now, we didn't get to see the piece of material or the fabric because we weren't there at the right time. You have to be there at certain times during the day. I think it's maybe twice a day, like maybe once in the morning and once in the afternoon, but I'm not sure. You might just want to look that up if you're planning on getting to see that. Bruges has lots of waterways, and so we wanted to take a little group boat tour. And so when we did that, this was our little waiting area to get on the boat, and it was really pretty. Had lots of little pansies and things for the early flowers of spring. So while we were on the tour, we got to go by the weeping willow that is very famous. Of course, it was early spring, so it wasn't in its full glory, but nonetheless still very pretty. So here's a little video that shows what part of the tour was like, and I'll let you listen to that.
Meters of canals, and today we are sailing 3.5. The water over here is between 1 and 2 meters deep. Some points may be 3, but definitely not more. The name of the river is the Reye, an ancient Celtic word, and it means holy water. Et maintenant, messieurs, dames, nous sommes presque arrivés à le pont Bisou Bisou.
So towards the end of the tour, we got to go to Swan Lake, or the Lake of Love. I'm going to try to pronounce the name, but I'm sure it's not going to be phonetically correct, but Minne Water Lake. So the swan is a symbol of the city, and then here is a beautiful portrait of the city of Bruges at night. All right, so now we are looking at a beautiful street in Paris, and then we move on to the Basilica of the Sacred Heart. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that in French. I know I'll butcher it, but it was pretty cool. And one of the things that we saw there was this mime artist, and he was quite talented. Lots of people were taking pictures with him and taking pictures of him. And then we came across this adorable little market that had drinks and apples and things like that, and picnic baskets I think you could put together. And then we're going to move on to a video of the Arc de Triomphe.
This is a bonus. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so this whole little courtyard is right there outside of the Louvre, between the Louvre and the Arc. And the Arc was built in the early 1800s to commemorate Napoleon's victories. Okay, so this is a picture of a little bookstore right there in Paris, and it's called Shakespeare and Company. And if you'll look, you'll see a huge long line, and it's quite famous. It was supposed to be, or supposedly, a hangout for Ernest Hemingway, and it was also the setting for a couple of movies, Before Sunset and Midnight in Paris. So it was actually really, really pretty. And then right beside that was the little cafe, Le Petit. And that's where we had our lunch that day, and it was quite good. So this picture of the Eiffel Tower in the distance was taken from our tour bus. It was the big red bus. And now I've heard that is, if you're going to take a bus tour, that is the best one to get on. And then so there's a picture of me with my cool little beret. So now we're at Paris at night, and I want to tell you a little bit about the little video clip that's coming up. But when we went up there, you could see these vendors all over the place selling little miniature Eiffel Towers and Eiffel keychains, like on these white pads. And my friend told me that they're really not allowed to do that, but they do it anyway. And I'm like, well, I'm sure they don't ever really arrest them. And she said, oh, yes, they do. She said, if you'll notice, if you look on the bottom or on the sides of the canvas, there are little handles. And that way, if a police officer approaches them, they can quickly grab at those handles and put all of their wares in that bag and then run off. So that little flat sheet turns actually into a bag of sorts so that they can run from the police. And so I thought that was amazingly interesting. But they were actually really kind and very professional, and I enjoyed interacting with them. Now here she is, all lit up at night, absolutely stunning. And so here's some of that landscaping that's right in that area where the Eiffel Tower is. It was stunning. And then it's been a full day in Paris, so we are at the subway station getting ready to head back to Brussels. All right, so this was an evening dinner, and I thought this restaurant was really cool. It's called Wolf, and inside it has all the different varieties of food from countries around the world. And so I actually ended up eating at the African sharing food, and then here's a little picture of my dinner. It was so good. The video clip coming up is actually the Grand Place, which is the market square there in Brussels, and it is said to be the world's most beautiful of squares, and I can attest to it was stunning. And if you'll look at on the video clip, you'll see the cobblestone street there, and it's really amazing because it undulates where the ground has moved and shifted throughout the years. But now I want you to pay attention to the City Hall. It's at the first and the last picture of the video. But legend has it that the architect that drew it up was so distraught because it was a little asymmetrical that he climbed to the top and he jumped off. But when you do a little bit of research on it, it's actually because there were probably several different architects that worked on it for multiple decades of years. And so that's probably why. But that legend is very much alive and well and circulating in Brussels. Now here's a picture of a statue. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but I will put it on the screen. But it was made to honor this guy for liberating Brussels from Flemish rule. And it said that if you rub the arm, that you'll get to come back to Brussels someday. And so, of course, I rubbed the arm, and hopefully I will also get to go back. And then now that leads us to this last little video clip of the little mannequin. So he has a legend concerning him, but it said that he put out a burning fuse which prevented the city from being blown up. And in addition to him and his little statue, there's also a little girl and a little doggy. And we did not get to see those, but I have seen pictures, and they're quite fun and whimsical part of the city as well. And alas, we end our journey at the iconic IKEA in Brussels. It was the first time I had ever been to IKEA, so I was quite impressed with how the store was laid out. And then we have since made a little trip of our own to the one in St. Louis, Missouri. So it was a lot of fun, and I will take any opportunity to go to any IKEA anywhere in the world if I get the opportunity again. I also wanted to thank you for being patient with me as I learn new video editing skills and as I work through learning how to properly place my microphone. So I appreciate your patience. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. I'm hoping to do several more in the upcoming future. Have a great day. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.